Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to show you how to make this Bubu Fringe dress. The list of the items needed to make this dress will be in the description box below. So before we continue, I just want to let you know that I realized my fringe wasn't enough, but I still used it regardless. Anyway, what we would need right now is to measure out 2 yards of Ankara fabric or any fabric of your choice and lay it on the table by folding it into 2 equal halves like this, as you can see. Make sure all the ends align. Then you're going to fold again into another equal part. After folding, you're going to notch all the folded areas like I am doing right now. So I've notched the top and I'm also going to notch the bottom. This is going to help us align our fabric properly when we cut. To get the neck width, I marked 2.3 inches inward of my fabric. Then I marked 2 inches downward of my fabric to get my neck depth. Then I connected with a ruler. So it's up to you to decide if you want to use a pattern or if you want to cut freehand. And it's also up to you if you want to separate the shoulders or if you want them cut together. So I'm just going to put a chalk mark at the center of my fold. After putting the chalk mark, I'm just making sure all my notches are in place. So I just snip all the areas. And now I'm going to spread my fabric open. So after spreading it open, we're going to make sure that we fold it back horizontally, but making sure that the notches align as we fold or as I fold. Now I am going to measure from one part of the neck downward, and I'm measuring about 2.5 cm. Then I'm going to connect back to my shoulder neck point and I'm cutting it out. Then I'm just snipping to make sure I have all my notches in place. Now I'm going to mark 12.5 cm, which is about 5 inches. I'm trying to create a slit. At the top, I'm going to mark 0.7 inches, which is about 2 cm. Then I'm connecting with a slanted line and I'm going to cut it out. So this is just a scrap fabric I have left. I'm going to iron feasible interfacing on it. Then I realized that it was not long enough. So I'm going to need to join more pieces to that scrap fabric. Now I'm just putting that scrap fabric under this Ankara fabric and I am pinning. So after pinning, I'm just tracing around it with a chalk just to get the exact shape. Now I'm trimming out that traced area. So after cutting it out, I'm just putting notches on my new shape that I've just cut and I'm on pinning. So this is what it looks like at the moment. Now I'm going to measure 4 inches, which is about 10 cm all around the circle that I just cut out, including the slit area. The next thing I did was to fold my fabric into 2 equal halves. I'm just trying to make sure that my facing is even on each side. I don't want one side bigger than the other. So after reconfirming my 4 inches mark, I'm just going to cut out following that shape I have marked. Now I'm trimming out the excess pieces that are on the fabric, and I'm also going to join a fabric scrap to it because I want my facing to be slightly longer. So after joining, I'm going to press with iron, and this is what my facing is looking like at the moment. So after ironing, I'm just going to mark out about 0.4 inch all around my facing, and this is approximately 1 cm. So after marking, I'm just folding with my iron to create a crease. This will enable me stitch my facing down properly. So this is my fabric front and back. Now I'm going to lift it up carefully and I'm going to spread it open. So I'm just showing you the wrong side of my fabric and the right side of my fabric. Now I'm going to lay my facing, right side of my facing to the wrong side of my Ankara fabric. Then I'm pinning all around the neck area. And make sure that when you pin, the notches of your facing should align with the notches of your fabric. So after pinning, I stitched it and I'm just snipping around it. Next thing I did after snipping was to turn my facing inside out. So I'm just using my scissors to poke those areas that need to be sharp. Then I'm pressing with iron. The next thing I did was to put hemming gum or fusible interfacing underneath the areas that I had just sewn, just to make sure that my facing stays in place and my Ankara fabric does not poke out when the dress is being worn around the neck area. So this is what it's looking like at the moment. Now I folded my fabric into 2 equal halves just to make sure everything aligns. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to iron the shoulder to create a crease around the shoulder, because we need that gaiter just to let us know the difference between the back and the front. So now I spread the fabric open and I'm just measuring 2 inches. I marked 2 inches because my fringe actually was not enough. But if you have enough fringe, 1 inch is fine. So I marked 2 inches on each side and I am going to sew from top to bottom. So after sewing, I went ahead to fold the hem. So I folded the hem with about 1/2 inch. Then I stitched across the hem. After stitching, this is what the hem is looking like. Neat. So make sure to iron after stitching. After ironing and stitching, the next thing I did was to measure my shoulder to my bust point on each side of my fabric. Mine is 12 inches. After that, I measured from my shoulder to my high waist. Mine is 18 inches. Yours could be more or less. Now, I want to determine how wide I want my sleeve to be. So I want my sleeve opening to be 10 inches. I'm also going to mark it on the left part and on the right part of my fabric. After marking it, I want to also determine my bust measurement. So I'm going to mark my bust measurement on my shoulder to bust point line. So my bust is 39 inches. Then I added 6 inches to it, and this gave me a total of 45 inches. Now I'm going to divide 45 by 2, and it gave me 22.5 inches. I have marked the 22.5 inches, and now I'm measuring what I have left. What I have left is 18.5 inches. So I'm going to divide this 18.5 by 2. So it means I'm going to mark 9.2 inches to the left, like I'm doing, and 9.2 inches to the right of my fabric. Then I am going to connect the line. From my true waist or high waist, I'm measuring 8 inches downward. So where that 8 inches stop is where I'm going to impute my hip measurement. My hip measurement is 44.5 inches. So I'll add 6 inches to it to make it 50.5. Now I'm going to divide 50.5 by 2 and it will give me 25.25. Now I'm marking the 25.25 on my fabric, and the excess I have left on the fabric is 15.6. I'm going to divide 15.6 by 2. So I'm going to mark 7.5 to the left and 7.5 to the right of the fabric. After that, I'm going to connect all the lines together. So I'm connecting the line from the armhole to the hem of the dress, and after connecting, I'm going to stitch along those chalk mark that I've ruled on the fabric. But make sure that you leave about half an inch at the hem slightly open. That will enable us attach the fringe without any difficulty. After stitching the dress, this is what it looks like at the side seam. It looks neat. So now it's time for us to attach the fringe. Because my fringe was not enough, I had to mark 1.8 inches on each side of the hem, just so that I can sew the fringe to the point that it's not going to be obvious that it wasn't enough. After attaching the fringe, this is what it looks like. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, comment. Your feedback is highly needed.